Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot. We're on the final day. Hey G-Fans, GojiFan93 here, and welcome to day 29, the final day of Godzilla-thon 2014. And today we will be taking a look at Godzilla Final Wars. I got 3 DVDs, yes. So, obviously I am exhausted. This has been a 29 days of straight reviewing. It's just like, very draining, and especially today being the day that I get to see Godzilla 2014. I know it comes out tomorrow officially for everybody, but I get to see it a day early because my theater has, I don't know, just an early day. So I'm very excited I get to see it today. I'm super pumped, but I'm really tired at the same time. and we got to talk about Final Wars, which is, there's a lot to talk about. So first off, Final Wars. Okay, so this is basically the final film that Toho has made for Godzilla. It came out in 2004. It's been 10 years since, and you know, definitely went out with a bang. And that's why I love this film so much, because I feel that the director, you know, he said, you know what, let's, you know, take Godzilla out in a bang. Let's just, you know, end the series with just craziness. And this film is full of craziness. And you know, really, if you're looking for realism and a dark storyline and all that, you're not going to find it in this film. This film is nothing but balls to the walls action, Matrix style, Star Wars. I mean, it just like crams so many genres into one film. It's ridiculous. And it's just crazy how Godzilla can go from, you know, dark tone to an environmentalist to a father to this sci-fi, Star Wars-y, Matrix-y. It's nuts. So yeah, where do I start? Okay, well, basically this film is supposed to be, they're kind of like a remake of Destroy All Monsters, because what they do is that they bring back a crap ton of monsters. I mean, who do we get here? Okay, so we get Godzilla, Gigan, King Caesar, Anguirus, Kumonga, Gamacarus, Ibra, Manda, Hedorah, Rodan, Manila, Mothra, Monster X, Kaiser Ghidorah, and Zilla is even in this one. So there is a shit ton of monsters in here. Most of them, actually pretty much all of them, are from the Showa series. There are no Heisei monsters and no Millennium monsters, which being the only Millennium monsters, there's Orga and Megaguirus that were the new ones. But yeah, but we get a lot of classic monsters, my favorite being Gigan, obviously. I love the new look. This is my X Plus figure. I got other figures over here. You probably can't see them, but so I have a couple figures from this movie. Most of them are from Bandai Creation, but I do have this one from X Plus, and I love this figure. This is actually my favorite X Plus figure that I have. But yeah, I mean, it's just crazy how many monsters they cram in. Now, the difference with this film is that they don't have them all fight in one place like in Destroy All Monsters. This movie, they kind of act as cameos, and this is kind of one of the drawbacks to the film, and I'll get to that later. But most of the monster cameos are like 5 seconds long. I mean, that's really it, and that's all you get to see of them until we get to the final finale of the final battle, I guess. But yeah, so also what's cool about it is the human characters, and you know, and this film, you know, has a lot of fans split. You have a lot of fans who hate this film and a lot of fans who like this film. I'm part of the fans who like this film, but I do understand why a lot of fans hate this film, and it's totally understandable, because I can see, you know, even though this is my favorite film, I can still watch it objectively, and there are a lot of stupid things in this film. This is one of those films that at least to me, it's so stupid it's good. It's very cheesy, very campy, and what I took from it is that it's a huge homage to the Showa series. Everything that the Showa series had, its you know, childlike wonder and its cheesiness, this film has it. And the reason I say that is because it just has, you know, crazy monster fights. The monsters do really weird things, just like they did in the Showa series. I mean, you know, in the Showa series, Godzilla flew by shooting his atomic breath. We obviously got the, you know, the flying kick thing from Megalon, you know, and the dancing in Astro Monster. And in this one, you know, we have Godzilla playing soccer and Anguirus rolling up into a ball and bouncing around. I mean, there's just a lot of funny things that go on in this. And it's just nuts. This film is just crazy. I mean, every second there's something happening in this film, and it's definitely not a boring film. It's definitely entertaining. And one thing that I really like about it too, like I said, is the human characters with it. And I really do enjoy the human cast. I actually, this is probably one of my favorite casts just because they're so alive, and definitely the bad guy, the main villain, the main human villain, the Exilian command. Well, he's the second in command or whatever, but he eventually takes over. He's my all-time favorite human villain. I can't get enough of this guy. I even made a video a while ago that I put on my Dailymotion where I just cut together all of his parts and put it into one big video just because I love this character so much. But yeah, so it follows a lot what Destroy All Monsters did by the Exilians coming down, and they you know, well, actually it's kind of different actually. In Destroy All Monsters, it wasn't a group, like it wasn't a civilization. I mean, it was, but it wasn't the queen. Like this time they bring back the classic like Exilian look with like the black glasses that go across their face that are kind of like really small, but they don't have the really, I mean, I'm sorry to say, but they don't have the dorky outfits that they had in the originals. Like this time they have like these really matrixy looking dark black latex clothes that are just like, it's really funny. What happens is that they come down and they pretend like they've, what they did is that they brought all the monsters out to destroy the cities, but then they took them back to say, hey, we took care of the monsters for you, but then they put them back out, and then they try to take over the world. Long story short. And what's also cool is with the heroes on it, these guys are actually mutants, and this is a really interesting thing. And like they made this organization, the M organization or whatever, part of the EDF, and it's so funny with the EDF thing about it because there's a scene in this movie where two of the main characters, along with some three other guys who are part of the mutant M base, whatever people. They actually fight Ibra, and it's not a monster on monster fight, it's actually a human fighting Ibra, and this whole thing just reminds me of EDF, like the video game, where the guys running around with a rocket launcher shooting at a big alien. I mean, it's like, or a big monster. It's hilarious how similar EDF is to this movie, but this came out first, so I don't know how they dealt with copyright or whatever. But yeah, that's one of the things that I enjoyed about it. It was just, and there's a lot of Matrix fights. A lot of people complain about the Matrix. It's ripping off the Matrix. But my counter argument to that is, since this was 2004 and the Matrix was still a very popular thing, do you guys know how many other action movies were copying the Matrix? It's not just Godzilla that was copying it. So to say that, oh, this film is bad for ripping off the Matrix, well, so was everybody else. I mean, it was only inevitable that Toho would try it. I mean, Toho's tried in the past other things that were a thing with movies, and they tried in the past with Godzilla, so why not with this, right? And I like it because, to me, in this film, instead of having a bunch of human characters that just walk around on a base talking about shit and wearing suits. I mean, did you guys notice this, by the way? Like in every Godzilla movie, everyone's wearing suits, really nice suits. And yet this one, it changes up because you have, like, I don't know, it's somewhat of an engaging storyline because the characters, they're not just sitting there wearing suits and being boring. Like, they're actually active, and the costume designs are pretty cool, and then there's more human fighting. I mean, that's what like the director is here. He's like, how in the other movies you had humans talking and monsters fighting? Well, how about this time we have everyone fighting all the time, so it's just non-stop action. And I think it was about time that Godzilla actually had a movie where it was nothing but all fighting. But yeah, but there are some parts about this film that I really hate, and some parts that I will agree with on people that do hate the film, is that the monster scenes are way too short, and there are a lot of scenes that are not needed in this film. There's one scene about a cop and a pimp and a homeless guy, and they're doing some shit before Rodan comes down and takes out New York or whatever. That part was completely shit. I don't know why that was in there. Another part was the whole thing with Minya or Manila. I don't know why Minya had to be in this film. It was pointless, like the whole thing with the grandfather, his grandson, and this whole backstory. I mean, the whole atomic testing metaphor thing is completely thrown out of this movie. You can't have that metaphor in this kind of movie. It's not serious. And you know, like I said, it just feels like Godzilla's kind of a side thing, more with the human-based element in this movie. Like I said, there's a lot of scenes that could have been taken out so that there could have been more runtime, camera time for the monsters. I mean, this is a 2 hour and 5 minute movie. There could have been more monster fights, but I will say that the last fight with Godzilla and Monster X is really good. It's the main event, it's awesome, and then when he fights Kaiser Ghidorah, when Monster X changes into Kaiser Ghidorah, it is amazing. And I swear, Kaiser Ghidorah does not give Godzilla a chance to even attack him, and this is why I say he's his toughest monster to fight, because Destroya, on the other hand, at least Godzilla got a couple hits in with Destroya while they were fighting. Kaiser Ghidorah, no. There was no chance. Godzilla didn't even get a chance to make any hit on Kaiser Ghidorah until the humans gave him more energy. If it wasn't for the humans, Godzilla would have died by pure brute strength from Kaiser Ghidorah. But anyways, so yeah, it's, you know, overall this film is just all out crazy, balls to the walls, nuts, and you know, it's definitely split. You're either a huge fan of it or you hate it tremendously, and I can understand both sides. You know, my personal opinion, I love this film. It's just it's just fun, but I can understand some parts that are pretty shit. And I mean, you know, the part with Zilla is obviously hilarious. I mean, Toho did that on purpose. Like, I mean, Zilla gets destroyed in like 5 seconds. It's not even a fight. But like then when he fights like Gamacarus, I mean that's also not a fight. I mean, Gamacarus runs out, Godzilla grabs him and impales him on an antenna or whatever. Most of the fights are very short, but like I said, they're kind of meant for cameos. They're kind of like, oh hey, remember that monster? Remember that monster? Really, the main villains are Monster X / Kaiser Ghidorah and Gigan. Those are really the two main enemies that Godzilla fights towards the end. And Mothra, of course, is shoehorned in for another stupid reason. They make this backstory that Mothra had to fight Gigan thousands of years ago or whatever. It's just more bullshit to get Mothra into another Godzilla movie. It really annoys me how they shoehorn her in a lot of this shit. Really bugs me. This movie, I'm a little bit less crazy about it because obviously this is a big monster brawl, so I guess having Mothra in it makes sense. But you know, where's Megalon? Where's let's see, there's other. Where's Titanosaurus? You know, where's Gabra? I mean, I know Gabra wasn't a popular monster, but still, he should have been in it. But so yeah, I'm also running out of time on my camera. Oh wait, no, I still got plenty of time. Okay, I thought I had like 4 minutes left, but I saw the one right there, right? Yeah. Okay, never mind. I still have a lot of time to talk about this film. Okay, so what else? The music is really awesome, by the way. I love the music, especially when you get the perfect soundtrack collection. This movie alone has 3 discs dedicated to the soundtrack, the movie soundtrack. It's amazing. The third disc is completely devoted to a bunch of bonus tracks that didn't even make it onto the movie. One of the characters that I love too is an American actor, Don Fry. I love him in this movie. He is so funny. He has so many parts in there that are just hilarious. Like when after they take out Manda at the beginning with the Gotengo, like the commander pops up on screen and then he's just like, oh shit. And it's just, I don't know, I just love the things that he does. When Osagi, which is the main protagonist, when he shows Don the two female scientists, and he just looks at them and he looks at Osagi and he's like, nice work. And it's just really funny. Other things, the whole plan too that he comes up with is so far-fetched. It's ridiculous. He's like, here's what we're gonna do. The war is already lost, and now it's all about pride. And so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go to the South Pole. We're gonna bring Godzilla back, and then we're going to have him destroy the other monsters. Then we're gonna go to the Exilian mothership, take them out. Then we're gonna bring Godzilla back to the South Pole and put him back in his prison or whatever. And then they're all just like, that's your plan? Okay, it's just crazy enough to work. It's ridiculous. It's a crazy thing. Another thing that's really cool is the opening. The opening's really awesome. It's a big it's a big compilation video of all the movies. Not every single one of them, but they take clips from the Showa, Heisei, and Millennium. They put it all into one big awesome compilation video, kind of like a tribute video. Also, another really cool thing, I think why I also have a good, like, I guess I would say like relationship with this movie is because this movie actually introduced me to Sum 41, which is an American punk rock band, and I love that band. It was actually my first band I really got into, and this was like when I was in middle school, I think like 6th grade or so. And when this movie came out with the song when Godzilla was fighting Zilla, and it had the Sum 41 song "We're All to Blame," I was like, that song is awesome. And when I saw in the credits, so I typed on the internet Sum 41, and it just started from there. So I actually have to thank this film for introducing me to that band and then making me become a rock fan. Basically, what you can say is that Godzilla made me a rock fan, a heavy metal fan. Isn't that nuts? It's crazy how things work, but it's because of this. Because when I was in middle school, like before, I wasn't that much into music, but then or at least into rock music. But then when I heard Sum 41, it just boom, right on from there. It is nuts. So that's also probably why I really like this film a lot. Because it just, I don't know, I have a lot of memories with this film. And what's funny too is that when I first saw this film, I actually didn't like it. When I was little and the first time I saw it, I actually had a lot of the complaints that a lot of people that hate this film now said. The lack of, monster fights, the crappy effects that were in it, the storyline that really was kind of convoluted and nuts. But now that I've grown older, I've learned to appreciate this kind of film because it was just, the director just wanted to make something that was a big homage to the Showa series and a big way to end the series. Now, I've been talking to Rich lately about this, and he's on the side that he hates this film, and I totally respect his opinion on it because to him and as a fan, when this movie was first announced, and I was too little when this film was being announced, but to him, he was old enough to be excited about it, and they were saying, Toho was saying, this movie's gonna have a bigger budget, it's gonna have a bunch of monsters, it's gonna be awesome, and then when they saw it, this is what they got, and they got disappointed. So I can understand, in his point of view, why this film's not good, and that's why I can realize, okay, there are some things that they could have done better in this film. I mean, like I said, there's a ton of scenes that could have been cut so that we could have gotten more time for the monster fights. Also the scene when Godzilla fights Anguirus, Rodan, and King Caesar, that fight was actually pretty cool. I like that battle, and there was actually supposed to be it was a deleted scene or a scene that they were gonna do but they didn't do it, was where Godzilla was actually going to kill Anguirus, King Caesar, and Rodan when they were all piled up. He was actually going to kill them off, but I guess Toho said, well, those were kind of his allies in the past movies, so let's just have Godzilla walk away from it rather than killing them, which I kind of like, because when I first watched the film, I was very disappointed that Anguirus, Rodan, and King Caesar didn't even help Godzilla. I was very confused, and I think that if Godzilla and Anguirus fought Kaiser Ghidorah and Gigan, think about it, that would have been an awesome remake of Godzilla vs. Gigan. I mean, right there, it'd be awesome. Yeah, and also another complaint is the suit designs. A lot of people don't like the fact that it does. I do agree with it. Most of the monsters seem very slim in this movie, and it's because I think what they decided to do is they decided to make the suits more flexible, more mobility, so that they could do these action scenes, because even the monsters do some Matrix-y like things. I mean, King Caesar jumps on rocks and does some flips. I mean, it's nuts what these monsters do in this one, and so I can kind of understand why they're really slim, but that was one complaint that I saw. I mean, look how slim Gigan is. I mean, he's really slim compared to his Showa version. Also Godzilla's slim, Rodan's slim, and most of the designs I actually don't really like. I will agree with on a lot of fans about the suit design, especially Anguirus. I really don't like the way Anguirus looks. He doesn't look good with that design. The designs I do like is Godzilla. I think Godzilla's suit is perfect in this movie. It's fine. Gigan is really badass looking. Monster X looks amazing, and Kaiser Ghidorah looks really good. Those are the only monsters that I really liked in this, or at least like the design in this film. But yeah, and that's pretty much all I can say. I'm pretty much, this is probably the longest review because there's just so much to talk about it. But that's pretty much all I got. So Whew, there we go, guys. The end of Godzilla-thon. So thank you guys so much for sticking with me through these 29 days up until the release of Godzilla 2014. I hope for the people who are watching it today, I hope you guys enjoy the film. I'll be right there with you. I'm watching it at 9:45 tonight, my time, and I'm so pumped and excited for this. Yeah, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Also for the people for tomorrow, for seeing the official premiere day, excited for you guys. Can't wait for you guys to see it and what you guys think of it. I will be doing a non-spoiler review and a spoiler review. So I'll do 2 videos, one being non-spoiler, the other being spoiler. So that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching Godzilla-thon 2014, and that's it. So there we go. The king has returned, and we have completed all the movies. I don't think I'll ever review these again because this was very tiring. And yeah, that's it. So see you guys after Godzilla 2014. Stay big, G fans.